Welcome to the third day control and coordination. We discussed the basic types of coordination, that is nerves and as well as chemical. And we also discussed about the components of nervous coordination. They are sense organs, nerves, brain and spinal cord. Sense organs, we discussed that we have 5 sense organs and they are connected with the receptors: eyes, optic, nose, olfactory, tongue, gustatory, ears, auditory, skin of different types of sensory nerves. Just that's why we can just call it as sensory nerves. Then we discussed about the nerves. The nerves are 3 types: sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves. Then we discussed about the brain, parts and functions of brain. Now today I wanted to talk about spinal cord. So now we are talking about structure of spinal cord. Spinal cord play a major role in reflex action. Now just we will discuss about it. Now the diagram is in page number 117. You can go through it and you can draw along with me. So I think you opened page number 117. In that reflex action is mentioned. How to draw this reflex action? First you start your diagram with this H-shaped structure. Once you start with this H-shaped structure, the diagram you can complete without any confusion. Neatly you can complete. And exactly middle part, you put some dots. Then continue drawing like this. Check the shape from the textbook. Just follow the textbook diagram. This is called ventral canal. Ventral canal. This is dorsal root. This is ventral root. This is grey matter, white matter. And the main difference between spinal cord and brain are white matter will be present outside in spinal cord but inside in brain. So that is the major difference between spinal cord and brain. Now, in the previous topic, we discussed about nerves. We have 3 types of nerves. They are sensory nerves, motor nerves and mixed nerves. In this spinal cord, as it is playing a very important role in reflex action, as there is no time to think and act, so these spinal cord contains mixed nerves which will carry the reflex actions very fast. Now what is how the structure of this nerves? I think I am clear in my drawing. I think you are able to understand. Now one side only I have drawn. I did not draw this side. The same structure you can continue here. Now this is the dorsal root. Here the dorsal root contains sensory nerve. Sensory nerve. In the previous topic, as we discussed, the sensory nerve is connected to the sense organs or the receptors. Now when you touch a hot object, the skin first identify that it will give the impulse that the object is very hot. The object is very hot. The object is very hot. Up to here the information will be sent. Later what happens? The information will be converted into a command. What is that command? Here, this particular area is called relay neuron. What do you call it? Relay neuron. In this particular place, the sensory information will be converted into motor information, or it will give a command that pull your hand back. What is the information will be given? Pull your hand back. And according to 9th class, we discussed that the muscles will move. Voluntary muscles are connected to our hands, and these voluntary muscles will help in the movement of the body. So this is voluntary muscle. This motor nerve is connected to the voluntary muscle so that we can pull our hand back, so that we can protect ourselves from the burning out. The reflex arc has the following steps. The first one is stimulus, second one is receptor, Third one is sensory or afferent neuron. Fourth one is spinal cord. Fifth one is relay neuron. Sixth one is motor or efferent neuron. And seventh one is muscle action. In this stimulus, just now I told you which makes us to respond. Then receptors are the sense organs connected to the sense organs like optic, olfactory, gustatory, auditory and sensory. That is receptor. Then sensory nerves after that. Now skin will receive, the skin is connected to the sensory neuron. Sensory neuron will collect information, passes to the spinal cord, and here in this particular area is called a relay neuron. In this relay neuron, the sensory information will be converted into motor or a command, and this is called motor nerve. Motor nerve is connected to the muscle of the hand to pull our hand back. So when you touch a hot object, first the stimulus is hot object. The receptor is skin. The sensory nerve will carry the information. Then spinal cord, it reaches to the spinal cord. From spinal cord, it reaches to the relay neuron. And in relay neuron, the information will be converted into command. And it will convert into motor. And motor nerve will cause the muscle action. This is what we call it as reflex arc. I think you are clear. We respond in the similar way. The first one, when you touch a hot object, you will pull your hand back. Second one, when a thorn pricks to your leg, immediately you will pull your leg back. And third one, when a bright light focused on the eyes, you will either close your eyes or you will close your pupil. You will shrink your pupil. And fourth one, when you see the tasty food, the mouth starts watering. What is the role of the brain in carrying out reflex action? Actually, the spinal cord, whatever we are receiving the messages to the brain and again command to the remaining body parts, everything passes through this spinal cord. Now, spinal cord will play a major role in reflex action, just now we discussed. Then what is the role of brain in this reflex action? First, in the reflex action, at the time of reflex action, the brain will not involve because the information will be little delayed to reach to the brain and give the information to the muscles of the body. So that's why brain immediately will not take part in the reflex action. The reflex action will be carried out by the spinal cord. But what happens once the reflex action is done? The essence of the reflex action, like the summary of the reflex action, will be stored in the brain. For example, morning or in the ground you are walking, a thorn pricks to your leg. So next time when you are walking in the same area of the ground, you will be little cautious and you will remember that last time when I was walking here I got a thorn. So I will be little cautious or careful. So you will walk with little care and you will be worried any thorns are there. So the essence, the summary of the reflex action will be memorized by the brain and the experience will be given time to time to the brain. That's why once the reflex action we have done, again and again we are hesitant to do the same action. Like morning time going to the kitchen and touching the cooker. I think you got some idea that in reflex actions there is no involvement of the brain. And what is reflex action? Reflex action is a spontaneous, involuntary response to a stimulus. What is stimulus? The stimulus is nothing but which makes us to respond. Whatever it may be, which makes us to respond is called a stimulus. But for example, someone is calling you by your name. So immediately you will respond. So that's what we call it as stimulus. Feeling hungry is a stimulus. Then we are ready to have some food or something. So these are all called stimulus. Stimulus is nothing but which makes us to respond. What is reflex arc? Reflex arc is the pathway undertaken by nerve impulses from receptor to the effector organ during a reflex action. Reflex arc is the pathway undertaken by nerve impulses from receptor to the effector organ during a reflex action. In the previous video, a drawing of spinal cord, you understand that the receptor is the skin and the effector organ is the muscle of the hand, which made us to pull our hand back.